Here we are back again as we continue our exploration of A Course in Miracles. We are in chapter 21. Today we will be practicing lesson 41 together, and then we'll be looking at the 9th principle of miracles. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And as always, I click on Read A Course in Miracles, clicking on the text, scrolling down to chapter 21 in the table of contents, reason and perception. And we're in section 1, the forgotten song. Paragraph 1. Never forget the world the sightless see must be imagined. For what it really looks like is unknown to them. They must infer what could be seen from evidence forever indirect, and reconstruct their inferences as they stumble and fall because of what they did not recognize, or walk unharmed through open doorways that they thought were closed. And so it is with you. You do not see. Your cues for inference are wrong, and so you stumble and fall down upon the stones you did not recognize, but fail to be aware you can go through the doors you thought were closed, but which stand open before unseeing eyes waiting to welcome you. And so what's been on my mind since our last video where we read the introduction to chapter 20 is how we see, how our eyes physically see. And I think it's worth bearing in mind that we see less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, and that we can only see light because of the design of our eyes, because of the shape and the design of the photoreceptors in our eyes. But to other creatures, other animals, other insects, they don't see what we see. For example, for some insects, an incandescent light flickers, but to us, the light remains constant. And so I'm bringing this up just simply to remind ourselves that what we think we see is not actually what is real. It's just simply a result of our interpretation device. And so when we explore this more deeply, what we find then is that we indeed create the world that we see. And this is what the Course in Miracles, in its way, is trying to explain, is trying to reveal to us. And so again, if we go back to that, our physical eyes can only see 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. Our ears only hear 1% of the acoustic spectrum. So we only experience this reality through the limitations of the interpretation device, which is our physical senses in the body. And so what we do experience as our reality, and what our minds go to defend and to protect and to try to control, is actually an effective imagination, is an effective perception, which is what we were talking about in the last video. And so I'm going to go back to share the screen again. And so this paragraph starts with, never forget the world the sightless see must be imagined. And so by sightless, it's just referring to that which does not have true vision. And so the world the sightless see, in quotes, must be imagined. And then further down it says, you do not see. Your cues for inference are wrong. So let's now look ahead at paragraph 2. How foolish is it to attempt to judge what could be seen instead? It is not necessary to imagine what the world must look like. It must be seen before you recognize it for what it is. You can be shown which doors are open, and you can see where safety lies, and which way leads to darkness, which to light. Judgment will always give you false directions, but vision shows you where to go. Why should you guess? And so this paragraph is telling us how foolish it is to attempt to judge what could be seen instead. And so judgment is the way the ego mind, the personality mind protects itself. And so it judges what it doesn't know. So how foolish is it to attempt to judge what could be seen instead, which would be seeing with true vision. But there's a part of us that doesn't have access to that. It's like considering that you have a certain perception, that you have a certain experience of how the world works, but your dog or your pet's experience is limited and different. Your pet might know a lot. Your pet knows where his food is, knows what the fridge is for, knows what his ball, his frisbee is for, may even know what a car is for, but your pet does not understand the supermarket, doesn't understand distribution lines, doesn't understand the farm and the farmer, does not understand the banking system, the monetary system, does not understand what you do, quote unquote, for work. So your pet is in the world, but doesn't have the same level of comprehension that you do about the world and how it works. And in as much as your pet is limited, so are we limited. We are only able to perceive through our own scope and essentially through our own limitations. And so the course is constantly comparing that limitation to true vision and true seeing, which is not seeing through your worldly eyes. It's seeing with different eyes. And so it's through those different eyes that you might find for yourself a door that is open. And I've shared in other videos how in deep meditation that I've been able to access different ways of seeing. One experience I had in a Zen meditation retreat, Zen meditation practice is focusing on the breath at the belly. And so through that practice, found myself seeing through my, what we would call the third eye, what people understand as the third eye. The hue was a cyan, it was a light blue. I couldn't see color, but I was certainly looking out through around about where my physical eyes are in terms of height. And I was able to look around the room with complete clarity. I could see what the meditation teacher was doing. I could see what the other students were doing. And in fact, I was swiveling my head. I was looking around the room in a physical way because I physically was seeing, but not through my physical eyes. I've not been able to repeat this experience. That experience took place with the teacher Linda Clare in a private retreat place in upstate New York. But anyway, so just sharing. So let's go back now and read paragraph 3. There is no need to learn through pain, and gentle lessons are acquired joyously and are remembered gladly. What gives you happiness you want to learn and not forget? It is not this you would deny. Your question is whether the means by which this course is learned will bring you the joy it promises. If you believed it would, the learning of it would be no problem. You're not a happy learner yet because you still remain uncertain that vision gives you more than judgment does, and you have learned that both you cannot have. Okay, I think that's fairly self-explanatory. So let's continue to paragraph 4. The blind become accustomed to their world by their adjustments to it. They think they know their way about in it. They learned it not through joyous lessons, but through the stern necessity of limits they believed they could not overcome. And still believing this, they hold those lessons dear and cling to them because they cannot see. They do not understand the lessons keep them blind. This they do not believe. And so they keep the world they learn to see in their imagination, believing that their choice is that or nothing. They hate the world they learn through pain, and everything they think is in it serves to remind them that they are incomplete and bitterly deprived. Right. So the cause of judgment thoughts is the belief in separation, is that there's this feeling, there's this split in consciousness where that point of separation is convinced, that level of consciousness, that point of view is convinced that you are an individual, that we are individuals living in this reality and that everything is separate from us. And so as a result of that, now we have judgment. As a result of the separation, we have the body, we have this congealing of energy, particles and waves have danced down and created this physical reality, created your emotional reality, the quality of your thinking, and then the quality of your experience through your body, through your anatomy. That dancing down of energy can result also in pain and in discomfort, emotional pain and physical pain. So emotion is energy in motion. Pain is that energy that gets stuck and it gets condensed. In the Vipassana traditions, these stuck energies are called sankharas. And so what happens is we are householders, we're going about navigating our daily lives, having judgments on anything, everything, laying our judgments everywhere. And then it gets reflected back to us. And so our bodies hurt. And so we experience pain. But pain is also a learning tool. It's a learning device because anything in our physical world gives us an opportunity to put our attention there, to put really focused attention there, to bring curiosity there, to bring love there, and ask what's next, what's beneath that, what came before that. What is deeper than that is how our conscious mind transcends time, space, reality, and slips through a doorway into the great expanse, the great reservoir of peace that is right here, that holds all of this together. I'm going to go back to share the screen again for paragraph 5. Thus, they define their life and where they live, adjusting to it as they think they must, afraid to lose the little that they have. So this is the blind. Thus, the blind define their life and where they live, adjusting to it as they think they must, afraid to lose the little that they have, right? And so it is with all who see the body as all they have and all their brothers have. They try to reach each other and they fail and fail again, and they adjust to loneliness, believing that to keep the body is to save the little that they have. Listen and try to think if you remember what we will speak of now. Paragraph 6. Listen, perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state, not quite forgotten, dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten, and the circumstances in which you heard completely unremembered. Not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody, attached not to a person or a place or anything particular. But you remember from just this little part how lovely was the song, how wonderful the setting where you heard it, and how you loved those who were there and listened with you. Let's continue for paragraph 7. The notes are nothing, yet you've kept them with you, not for themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember, yet you are afraid. believing you would lose the world you learned since then. And yet you know that nothing in the world you learned is half so dear as this. Listen and see if you remember an ancient song you knew so long ago and held more dear than any melody you taught yourself to cherish since. Let's continue for paragraph 8. Beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars, past everything you see and yet somehow familiar, is an arc of golden light that stretches as you look into a great and shining circle, and all the circle fills with light before your eyes. The edges of the circle disappear, and what is in it is no longer contained at all. The light expands and covers everything, extending to infinity, forever shining, and with no break or limit anywhere. Within it, everything is joined in perfect continuity. Nor is it possible to imagine that anything could be outside, for there is nowhere that this light is not. Let's continue for paragraph 9. This is the vision of the Son of God, whom you know well. Here is the sight of him who knows his Father. Here is the memory of what you are, a part of this with all of it within, and joined to all as surely as all is joined in you. Accept the vision that can show you this, and not the body. You know the ancient song and know it well. Nothing will ever be as dear to you as is this ancient hymn of love the Son of God sings to his Father still. Let's complete with paragraph 10. And now the blind can see, for the same song they sing in honor of their Creator gives praise to them as well. The blindness that they made will not withstand the memory of this song, and they will look upon the vision of the Son of God, remembering who he is they sing of. What is a miracle but this remembering? And who is there in whom this memory lies not? The light in one awakens it in all, and when you see it in your brother, you are remembering for everyone. It's so good, so beautiful. There was a time when I was working very intensely with a fellow. He was going through something. He had had a Kundalini awakening. There was energy moving through him, through his anatomy that he couldn't control. And he came looking for the cause and what to do next. And so as we were working very intently together, it was hyper-focused for hours and hours. We spent days working together. There was a period when he was speaking, and I noticed that my vision started to change. And what started to happen was that the material world disappeared into a golden light, that I could still hear his voice, but that my sight changed. And like I said, the physical world disappeared. I even looked down and my body had disappeared. Everything became this golden light. I was awake, I was there, I was still myself, and yet my experience was light. This wasn't the last time this experience occurred. Another time I was actually sharing this occurrence with a girlfriend of mine, and as I was talking about it, it started happening again. I shared with her, it's happening again. And then I was able to control it. By bringing awareness to it, it would stop. Another time it started to happen while I was driving down the highway, that I was driving down Route 78 going east, and my vision started to change. And I said, not now, because it's not going to end very well for this body anyway. And so it consolidated back, and then I was able to see through my limited scope of vision, which what we're talking about is only 1% of the spectrum. So this section gives us a nice imagery And what I like about that as well, I love it when the Course gives us imagery because we are an effective mind. And so we can use our attention, we can use our intention to put our mind, we can use imagination actually to help be a bridge to bring in greater memory, ancient memory that this is referring to. And so we're being given a picture. The Course has painted a picture for us by saying that first it is using the metaphor as a song, but essentially it's just talking about vibration and frequency. It even says the notes are nothing. And so what I was getting at is here in paragraph 8. So beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars, past everything you see, and yet somehow familiar, is an arc of golden light that stretches as you look into a great shining circle. So use your imagination as the bridge to see that in your mind's eye, because when we can hook into an intention, then everything else follows. Again, where our mind goes, energy flows, and where our energy flows, our biology goes. So we can get behind this image if you want to. There's no have-tos in the game that we're playing here in this experiment. So there before you is an arc of golden light that stretches into a great and shining circle, and all the circle fills with light before your eyes. Then the edges of the circle disappear, and what is in it is no longer contained at all. The light expands and covers everything, extending to infinity, forever shining, and with no break or limit anywhere. Within it, everything is joined in perfect continuity. Nor is it possible to imagine that anything could be outside, for there is nowhere that this light is not. So it all becomes light. And then we're told in paragraph 9, this is the vision of the Son of God, whom you know well. Now, this also reminds me of a couple of sessions through the quantum healing hypnosis work where the people, through the expansion of consciousness, have accessed the oneness. They have accessed all that is, and it's a bliss state. And they will say, almost breathless, that it's all light, it's all symphony, it's the most amazing sounds that you've ever heard. And I know that it's difficult to put these experiences into words. And so I feel like the Course is doing a pretty good job of using, again, our imagination as the bridge to connect with the part of ourselves that is infinite, that doesn't need to remember, actually. It's only this little separated part of consciousness inside this meat suit. And so here we're being asked to use our little willingness, to use the imagination as a bridge to help connect with our eternal nature, our eternal essence. Here in paragraph 9, here is the memory of what you are. A part of this with all of it within, and joined to all as surely as all is joined in you. The drop in the ocean has returned to the ocean and remembered that it was never separate in the first place. Okay, so let's finish here. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again. And we're going to go back now to practice lesson 41. So we're going to go to the home workbook for students. We're going to type in 41, and I'm going to have the narrator read it for us.
Lesson 41. God goes with me wherever I go. Today's idea will eventually overcome completely the sense of loneliness and abandonment all the separated ones experience. Depression is an inevitable consequence of separation. So are anxiety, worry, a deep sense of helplessness, misery, suffering, and intense fear of loss. The separated ones have invented many cures, what they believe to be the ills of the world. But the one thing they do not do is to question the reality of the problem. Yet its effects cannot be cured because the problem is not real. The idea for today has the power to end all this foolishness forever. And foolishness it is, despite the serious and tragic forms it may take. Deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the world. It will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss, because it will heal the mind that thought these things were real and suffered out of its allegiance to them. You can never be deprived of your perfect holiness, because its source goes with you wherever you go. You can never suffer, because the source of all joy goes with you wherever you go. You can never be alone, because the source of all life goes with you wherever you go. Nothing can destroy your peace of mind, because God goes with you wherever you go. We understand that you do not believe all this. How could you, when the truth is hidden deep within, under a heavy cloud of insane thoughts, dense and obscuring, yet representing all you see? Today we will make our first real attempt to get past this dark and heavy cloud and to go through it to the light beyond. There will be only one long practice period today. In the morning, as soon as you get up, if possible, sit quietly for some 3 to 5 minutes with your eyes closed. At the beginning of the practice period, repeat today's idea very slowly. Then make no effort to think of anything. Try instead to get a sense of turning inward, past all the idle thoughts of the world. Try to enter very deeply into your own mind, keeping it clear of any thoughts that might divert your attention. From time to time, you may repeat the idea if you find it helpful. But most of all, try to sink down and inward, away from the world and all the foolish thoughts of the world. You are trying to reach past all these things. You are trying to leave appearances and approach reality. It is quite possible to reach God. In fact, it is very easy because it is the most natural thing in the world. You might even say it is the only natural thing in the world. The way will open if you believe that it is possible. This exercise can bring very startling results even the first time it is attempted, and sooner or later, it is always successful. We will go into more detail about this kind of practice as we go along, but it will never fail completely, and instant success is possible. Throughout the day, use today's idea often, repeating it very slowly, preferably with eyes closed. Think of what you are saying, what the words mean. Concentrate on the holiness that they imply about you, on the unfailing companionship that is yours, on the complete protection that surrounds you. You can indeed afford to laugh at fear thoughts, remembering that God goes with you wherever you go.
Okay, so let's practice together. And so our practice period today will be for 3 minutes. And again, the idea for today's lesson is God goes with me wherever I go. And so, as always, as we prepare for our little meditation, to start to bring your attention to the unconditional love and support that's here, whether you're seated or whether you're laying down. Just connect with how the furniture is holding you in just the right amount, the floor is holding you in just the right amount, and then by extension, so is Mother Earth, and that you have everything you need to exist in this moment. And gently bring your attention to the breath as it is, the in and the out. And just feeling what it is to be alive right now. And just enjoying the ebb and flow of your breathing. I'm going to find the timer, and I'm setting the timer for 3 minutes. And the instructions are that there's only one practice period, but you may want to come back to this for 5 minutes, perhaps finishing your day with 5 minutes, even though the instructions say there is only one longer practice period required for today. And then throughout the day, you're just repeating the thought to yourself, which is God goes with me wherever I go. So when you're ready, just let your eyelids rest over your eyes. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again so that you can see today's idea in case you need to look at it. And so just remember that you're starting the practice period by repeating, God goes with me wherever I go. And then for the 3 minutes, just keeping your mind calm and clear and quiet. All right, so I'm going to start the timer now. Okay, so that is our timer. And so what I love about this experiment is that I started reading the text in chapter 19 because it matched the timing of the year. And so here we are in chapter 21, and it just seems like every lesson that we practice is a match, supports the section that we read in the text. And so, what we're reminded through this lesson is that we're never alone. God is with us wherever we are. And so that negates that original cause of feeling alone and separate, and therefore is the cause for depression, anxiety, feelings of unsafety, disconnection. And so here we've just been given the keys to the kingdom, the solution. Okay, so let's go back now to the text because we're going to look at the 9th principle of miracles. So we're clicking on the meaning of miracles, the principle of miracles, scrolling down to number 9. If you like, you can screenshot it so that you can refer back to it and use it as a point of contemplation throughout the day. And so, principle of miracles number 9 is this: miracles are a kind of exchange. Like all expressions of love, which are always miraculous in the true sense, the exchange reverses the physical laws. They bring more love both to the giver and the receiver. Perfect. Okay, so we're reminded that love, as we give love, so we receive love. And it's through that frequency of love, as we bring more love into a moment, it creates the conditions for miracles because it overrides natural laws. And so by doing that, what can occur, the effect can be something metaphysical or even paranormal. Okay, so this concludes our video for today. So thank you again for joining with me as we continue our experiment. I'm having fun going along with you, taking this journey with you. And so as always, I invite you to join one of my virtual, oh dear. So I am God sitting at the moment. God is dog backwards or vice versa. And so our happy little friend is using this opportunity to say hello. He is a love. Hello. Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks. Okay, so here we are. Okay, where was I up to? Okay, so I'm inviting you to join any of the virtual sessions that I have. You can come in person if you're local, but on the 3rd Tuesday of the month is the mindfulness-based meditation class. And then on the 4th Monday of the month, typically, is the meditation, natural healing, self-help. I'm a practitioner of Reiki, Jin Shin Jutsu, and medical Qigong. And so in each of those classes, we just practice a protocol. We lay our hands in the stillness to bring more love and to create the conditions for miracles. All right, so this concludes today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye.